Hey there, it's Crafty Jenna. Here we are, another video working in my October 2023 junk journal. In case you are not aware, this is an ongoing series I have been working on for 2023, where I've challenged myself to make a junk journal for each month of 2023 and decorate it throughout the corresponding month. And here we are on the 10th month of 2023. This is my 10th journal this year, and I'm still having a lot of fun. So let's get started, shall we? This page is the back of this one, and I'm going to turn it into a journal page, kind of like I did this, but I don't want it to look the exact same. I'm going to take this page and some Distress Oxide and Hickory Smoke, and I'm just gonna kind of run it along. Then I think I'll take some of this Empty Tomb mica spray, mica stain, and I'm gonna dry that with a heat gun. Alright, there we go. It mildly affected this side in what I find to be a beneficial way. Next, I want to take this stamp and stamp it up here. It came from this Inkadoo set, 98304 Skulls. It's that one right there. I'm going to use permanent ink in Black Soot. Alright, not perfect, but I'll take it. I did a little bit of work off camera. This was a package from some Halloween pretzels, and as soon as I saw the packaging, I knew I wanted to use it in the journal, and I've just been kind of hanging on to it. What I did is I took the package and sewed a little bit around it, but what that did was damage the pocket. So now I have this, I have a bit of, what do you call it? A breach? It's not quite what I wanted to say, but I have, yeah, there's some issues with that. So I'm going to want to cover that. I thought I could glue it down and just have it be okay, but I think I'm going to have to put something here to keep that closed. This one happened as well, but not as badly. So I just glued it down completely with tacky glue, and then I had stuck a little bit of tacky glue here on the edges. So yeah, that's what happened here. I'm gonna put something here to cover that. I also want to make something to go in this pocket. Now I have this little cutie, which I think works well in this pocket, and this is from an Artsy Fartsy Life printable. I can link below her site so you can potentially find it for yourself if you're interested. But before I put this in here, I want to add a little something to it. I'm gonna first color the back, and I think I'm going to use roughly the same color as I have on the front, which to me looks similar to Seedless Preserves. Alright. A little Seedless Preserves action in there. I think that is very close to the front color. It's not the same, but it's about as close as I can get with what I have. So then I think something I've been really enjoying doing, let's see, do I have, okay, yeah. So this, I went ahead and did this page off camera and just glued it down and added a few little things. But something that I've enjoyed doing is taking the Black Soot ink pad and just running it along, and then you get these little like pieces. And I think that looks really cool and fun for a spooky journal. So that's what I'm gonna do here. See, just got that little guy. And then because that is so saturated, I'm just going to lay this on it, pat it, and that way It'll dry a little faster. I love that. Now, the next thing I want to do is take this little bit of lace and fold it over a little and sew it to the top here. All right, I'm just going to run this to my sewing machine and sew it on there real quick. All right, that is how that ended up. It did tilt a little bit, but you know what? I'm not mad. It'll be fine, especially since it's going to be sticking out of here. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine! I'm not a perfectionist. Then I have these little rhinestones, and I think the purple ones would look really good. These do have adhesive backing, but just for the sake of ensuring that nothing goes wrong, I like to glue them. All right, now I have to decide if I want some flat back pearls on there as well. Yep, it needs the pearls. I love it. It's hard to tell those are purple. Yeah, so there we go. That needs to dry, but that is a fun little tag to go in there. In an effort to kind of tie these two things together, I want to make something to cover this and give it a little bit more structural integrity. That was the word I was looking for earlier. Integrity. Anyhow, these are very contrasting. I mean, and I don't mind it, but I do want a little bit more than just this glued down to the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seedless preserves again, and I have this piece of cardstock. It's just a scrap, and I'm just going to make this a little purple, violet, what have you. I'm going to stamp 31 on this using these Dylusions Dialogue clear stamps. I'm going to use the bigger numbers. I could do 31 or I could do 13. I think I already have a 31 somewhere. So maybe 13 is the answer. I'm going to stamp them in black permanent ink. $13. Then I have this 1.5 inch circle punch. I'm going to use the wilted violet. If I add a little bit of water, since I used that permanent ink, it shouldn't go anywhere. Oh, I like that. I like that much better. Yep. Yay, Distress ink for the win. And I think I'm going to take the black soot ink pad. I like that, but it's not enough on its own. I think I need something else over here or down here. I also have decided to use some washi tape. This one's like an eerie green. It's going to be the only green thing on this page. Maybe. But I like the idea of it looking like this is taped down. So I'm going to use some glue stick to help it stick. I also have this one, and I'm thinking about putting it here along with Trick or Treat. I want to show you something that I found quite helpful. This this fake postage stamp. It was part of the Artsy Fartsy Life printable. It's super cute, but if I glued it down as it is, you're going to see all of the white spots from the perforations. I do not have a round hole punch this size. I could use that little punch from that kit I use to poke holes when I need a smaller one, but that would be kind of a pain to get the hammer and do all of these. I use this heart punch and I tilt it Oh, you can't see, there we go. I tilt it so that one part of the top round parts of the heart, I don't even know if you can see this, but it works perfectly. So if you're trying to punch these little perforations out, the top part, ooh, I'm trying to line it up. One of the top parts of a heart punch could work for you. Just thought I'd share that with you. I'm gonna do the rest of this off camera. So there is how it looks with all the little perforations cut out. I think I want to stick it over here. I think she's cute there. Let's use the tacky glue. There, now you can't tell I even attempted to glue it back together. And hopefully the other parts don't have a problem. And then for this, I'm going to tear one little bit and figure out, yeah, there. Again with the glue stick, just to help it stick a little better. Otherwise it'll come up as soon as I lay it down. And that should also help some of the integrity. And then Trick or Treat, I'm just gonna stick right on there. All right, I really like that page. I think it's cute. It's one more down. Let's move on. I took another piece of that delightful collage board that I made before in the previous video, I believe, and glued it down to make it a pocket. And then I have this from that ephemera pack from Joann's, and I just want to stick it down right here. I love that. And then to go in the pocket, I think this is part of an artsy fartsy printable. I'm going to put something in, I'm going to do an eyelet in the top and attach something to it. I think I want to grunge it up a little bit first. I do want to color the back. I might just use spiced marmalade on the back, but the front. So how do I want to grunge it? Let me do the back first. Do I want spiced marmalade or rusty hinge? Let's go with rusty hinge. I think I'm going to take some of this Empty Tomb mica stain and do like I did for a few pages. All right, I really like that. Now, do I want to do the other side? Might as well. Let me just dab some of this off. Cool, I'm gonna dry that. So now that I've looked at it all dry, I want these bats to be shimmery. Oh, you know what? I have a good idea. I'm gonna use some of this black hologram embossing powder, but before I do, I wanna make sure it looks good. So, let me get my embossing pen. So before I decide on that, I'm going to test out this embossing powder so I know how it looks. So I traced and colored in the bats with an embossing pen, and then I used this black hologram embossing powder I found at Joann's, and here's what they look like before embossing them. There is how they look after embossing. I think they're really cute. How does it look in here? Okay, okay. Now it just needs something at the top. What shall I do? So I added an eyelet at the top and this ribbon, and now it's going to live there. I love it. I think that's really fun. Very orange on a page that is not orange, but I like it. I like it a lot. The next thing I want to do is take this black envelope, and I want it to be a flip out on this little purple page. So like this, and then a pocket. But I also want this side to be a tuck spot. So I'm going to get some glue, and I will run it along here and up here. And that way this side is open for tucking. But before I do anything else, are you being weird? Before I do anything else, I want to make sure that it doesn't glue this envelope shut. So I have to let this dry. In the meantime, I can decorate it. Yay! I think I really like these spooky things. These ghost images. Kind of like it here. And then I can do a little collage around it. Now these ghost cards came from artscavenger.com. This is what I have come up with. I've got this little piece of ephemera that says the witching hour is near. I tried a few different combinations, and I really just like how it looks against the plain black envelope. So I glued it down. And then this, I've got one of the ghost cards and some scraps. And I really enjoy that. Kind of want to do a little something back here first before I glue it down. And that is, I'm going to take some of this crushed grape shimmer spray. I think I'm also going to do some of the empty tomb splatters. You can see some of them through. Whoops. Whoopsies. Okay. And then I think these need a little bit of discoloration. A little bit of walnut stain. I will very carefully glue these down. First to each other. It does seem random to have all that brown, so I should definitely come up with something brown to tie these together. I like this, and I like this over here. This I will work some brown into. Now we've got some brown to kind of tie it together. For this pocket, I took this piece of scrap paper and I'm going to turn it into a card. I took this quote, "Darkness falls across the land, the midnight hour is close at hand," and that's quoted to Rodney Lynn Temperton. And I felt that the witching hour is near tied into the midnight hour being close at hand. And I love the way this looks right on here, like that. Oh, I could add some bats. What I did is I cut out the quote, and then I took my black soot distress oxide ink and just ran it over the edges. And then I took this piece of orange scrap paper and made a frame for it and did the same. So they're very cohesive in that way. And I'm just going to glue this down. All right, I'm gonna let that dry before sticking it in there. Sweet, now I just gotta figure out a card for this. For this pocket, I've decided to tie in the brown theme a little bit more, just a little bit more. I have this piece of cardstock that was coffee dyed, I believe. It was either coffee or tea. Maybe it was tea. Either way, I dyed this a piece of cardstock and I cut out a tag to fit in here. And then I used some of the matte gel by Liquitex to glue down a tea bag, just a regular tea bag, and dried it with my heat tool, and it is now there. I'm really good with the words today. So I like it, but I like this as a background, but it's very stark against this. And I want to tie in some purple, maybe a little bit of orange. So I'm going to bring this out. Let's move this out of the way. I'm going to bring this out and use some wilted violet. A little smear of that. And how about a smear of Rusty Hinge? A little bit of Rusty Hinge. And some water. Get them together, marry them together as it were. Get some purple and orange in there. All right. Let me dry that. All right, here's how it looks all dried. I went ahead and took some walnut stain, Distress Oxide ink, and distressed the edges on the front and the back. I really like this, but I want it to have a bit more purple in the middle. I'm gonna take this Dylusions shimmer spray and crushed grape and just cool. Now, arachnophobia warning. If you don't like spiders, you're not gonna wanna watch this part. I have this little guy I cut out with the Cricut, and I want it to go on here like this. And then I have this little ruffle I made with some purple and black ribbon, and I think that is awesome. But before I adhere all of these things, I want to make this little guy stand out a bit more. And I want to do that by embossing it. So I got my embossing pen. Do I want to just use clear? Or do I want to make him sparkly like I did the bats? Let's go with sparkly, why not? I think that lessens the creepiness of it a little bit. I don't love it. I actually might flip it over. I'm not a huge fan of this sparkly spider. That's a shame. 'Cause I really liked it facing that way. How about I try just regular clear on this side? I like that much better than the sparkly. It gives its body a little texture. I am disappointed that it's not facing the way I wanted it to, but I like it better than the sparkly side. I think I do want to sew. Let me sew around here real quick before I put the spider on. Alright, so I sewed around the edges. I glued my spider down with some tacky glue, and I made sure to put some threads behind it so that it, you know, it's a spider. It's supposed to have threads, right? So there, that is. It needs to dry, and I absolutely love it. There's the back, a little bit of journaling space. I sewed over the ruffle to get it on there. I like this card a lot actually. It's much, again, I wish I had done the clear embossing powder on the other side first, but you know, I really wanted to try out that black holograph. It worked really well for the bats, but definitely wasn't feeling it for this little guy. So she's gonna dry, and I figured out what I want to do on another page. Fold that in. Oh, I still need to decorate that as well. Fold that over. That just got bulky. And on here, when I was cutting things out with the Cricut, I got this little guy, and I don't really care for it as... I don't really want to glue it down, but it makes a really cool stencil. So I think I'm going to put it here with some texture paste. Before I do that, I want to tape this stencil down a little bit. So what I did here is I just took a little masking tape and I folded it over on itself so that it's essentially double-sided tape. And I'm just sticking it underneath the stencil so that it'll lay a little bit more flat on that curve. Oh yeah, that made a big difference. I'm gonna have to be careful around these eyes, but that is gonna be really cool, I think. So let's get the texture paste. Now, let's pull this off and see what I've got. Oh yeah. Awesome. I do want to clean that up a little bit. Creepy. I love it. So that I've got to let dry, and it has to air dry. Oh, how cool is that? Now, once it's dry, I will decide whether I want to leave it white or color it. I could do mica spray, potentially. I could... There's a lot of stuff I could do. I could use Distress Oxide spray and color it. I could do the mica spray potentially and cover it, color it that way. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really pleased with that. Sweet. So we've got some drying to do. All right, this has dried. I love it. I want to change it a little bit though. So I want to take this flickering candle Distress Mica Stain, and I want to use the nozzle to just kind of touch it and spread around. Basically, I want to paint with this. Probably should use a paintbrush. I really like that. I would like it even more if I added some of the jack-o'-lantern. Alright, yes, that was the answer. I like that very much. So spooky. Awesome. I think that's where I'm going to end this video. I've got quite a few more pages left to go. I think I'm going to work on them off camera, and maybe I'll film what anything I do that's like particularly cool. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.